So, guys, you must have been seeing it again and again that whenever we are talking about any metabolic pathway, whether it's glycolysis, whether it's Krebs cycle, whether it's gluconeogenesis, we always also talk about the medical relevance because these pathways have medical implications, clinical implications. And the metabolism of glycogen is not an exception because, I mean, you know that these are the pathways which involve the degradation and synthesis of molecules which are involved in many important and vital chemical reaction or biochemical reactions in our body. So any problem if occurs in these molecules, it will ultimately have clinical relevance. So let's see what sort of clinical implications we see in the case of any defect or disruption in the metabolic pathway of the glycogen, that is in the glycogen metabolic pathways. So the disorder which are involved in the defects in the storage of glycogen are termed as glycogen storage diseases or GSDs. These are usually the inheritary disorders, that is, they arise because of the defect in the genes which are encoding those enzymes or molecules which are involved in the metabolism of glycogen or in the storage of glucose in the form of glycogen. You know, I mean, glycogen metabolism involves both the synthesis and the degradation of glycogen, and the molecules or enzymes which are involved in this both process, if they have some defects, then what will happen? There is storage of the glucose in the form of glycogen. It will also be disrupted, and this will give rise to all sorts of clinical problems. There are different types of GSTs. At least 19 different types have been described until now, and they are most of the time associated with either the defect in an enzyme or deficiency in an enzyme which is involved in the metabolism of glycogen. So type there, I mean, for instance, there is a type 1 diseases of metabolic disorders of glycogen known as von Gerk disease. It's in this disease what happened that enzyme is not being able to correctly or more accurately convert glycogen into glucose. In other words, the breakdown of the glycogen doesn't take place as accurately as it should be occurring. So what will happen, that glycogen will accumulate in the liver, and of course the liver will not be performing its function as it should perform. Similarly, there is type 3 diseases, for example, Cori disease or Forbes disease. In this, the debranching enzymes, if you should remember, there were certain enzymes which were involved in removal of the branches from glycogen molecule when we were degrading the glycogen molecule. Do you remember those molecules? वो कौन से molecules थे? दो बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट एंजाइम्स है, वो जरा याद कीजिए जो कि इसमें इन्वॉल्व थे. एक जो 3 यूनिट्स को हटा रहा है ग्लाइकोसाइल यूनिट्स को, एक जो सिंगल यूनिट्स को हटा रहा है जिसमें कि 1,6 लिंकेज को हटाना होता है. तो उनमें प्रॉब्लम्स आ जाते हैं. जैसे इसमें अगेन glycogen will accumulate as a result in the liver, and liver will not be performing its function accurately. And then there is Anderson disease. इसमें क्या होता है, एबनॉर्मल टाइप ऑफ ग्लाइकोजन बनती है जिसकी वजह से डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स अपना परफॉर्म नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज मैनी ऑर्गन्स, मैनी systems of your body depends upon the degradation of glycogen because it gives the glucose. So energy requirements of different organs or different tissue systems are not fulfilled accurately in this disease, and it leads to problems in the liver functioning. It leads to problems in the really function of different organs, because different tissues organs get scarred, wounded because of this abnormality. When we are talking about clinical relevances, clinical implications, of course, we are more concerned all the time that how we can manage this disease or cure this disease. But until now, we know that for the inherited disorders, unfortunately, the cure is almost impossible. But what we can do, we can manage disease. We can manage the disease by taking care of our nutritional requirements. We can take certain many medicines which can minimize the effects of the abnormalities or disorders which are caused by disruption in this metabolism or glycogen metabolism, or we can get counseling from the our doctors so that the effect or the bad effects of this disease can somehow be minimized.